Okay, now, all right. If you take a look at these both drawing there, okay, these both drawing that I actually draw for the students, okay, yesterday, okay, the comparisons there. What are the things that you have in mind? Before I'm going to conclude basically already, or maybe you know basically my answers there. But I just want to engage a little bit with you, right? Whether you really understand what you've learned or not. Okay, guys? What is it? Anyone can answer the questions there? Or understand about my questions is? The comparison there, okay? Because you have been with me, I think around 4 weeks, all right? So within these 4 weeks, okay, you saw basically how actually I do my works, and you practically have saw my previous kind of professional works, okay, my portfolios, and you actually have basically experienced the way basically I conduct and also demonstrate for you how actually we're going to design or develop our skills, okay, according to the right kind of methods there, okay, especially for the beginners. All right, beginners there. I'm not talking about, okay, if you if you have in your mind, okay, I actually can draw. I can draw manga better, right? I can draw manga style. Okay, I know how to draw people portrait, right? I'm not talking the one who actually have the amount of skills that you can bring to the class there, because I don't worry too much from there. Right? Normally, this kind of person basically can independently later on can work by its own there. Right? But the problem with this person, this kind of people normally, okay, this level of student who have the skill there, okay, they normally overestimate their potentials there, right? They're too confident with what they do at the early stage, all right? So that means basically if you don't actually have work outside, you don't take any commissions yet, you don't actually make a living with your skills, okay? You always thought that, okay, I can do the things that I feel comfortable with, okay? But the problem is, the reality is, do you make money out of it? All right? Because if you work with our culture, like not only Malaysian culture, so everyone directly in this world, do you make money from what you've done there? If you can make profit, make money, make a living directly, raise families, buy cars and cash, for example, directly, maybe a lot of people like to take loans there. I don't like to take loans there, right? So I will buy my things, except house, like, right? But I actually plan to do this kind of thing in futures there, right? So I plan to bought a house in cash. All right. There's no such thing as impossible, but we have to work according to the right kind of strategies, okay? So I believe in that. I really have a strong belief in that, but we have to wait, because other one for me, my kind of way of thinking, I do like to have a ball of steel with a chain in my legs there, okay, all the time when I go around, okay. I love my total kind of freedoms there. Even though there are going to be a lot of challenges and struggles along the way. Normally, okay, life are going to be like that. But I can do whatever I want, all right, whenever I want, with my kind of professional kind of ideas and point of view there. Okay? So and skill that I have, right, in terms of what we call that presentations, marketing skills. But I always learn that. I always put myself like a student also, learn all the time there. All right. So I want to ask you guys, because the most important thing that I want to make sure that for my students this semester is that everyone at least can draw in the right way. The right way doesn't mean it has to be perfect. These kind of sketches that I actually produce, right, demonstrate, okay, it's not a perfect kind of drawings there, but it's the right way of drawing to develop your ideas from basic structures into a form of design there. right? We're not clean up the line yet. Maybe I'm going to show you guys how actually I clean up this line there, okay? Because that kind of demonstrations basically is a part of the design process when you design your illustrations. All right? Because last 3 weeks we have go through draw on top of the layers there, on top of the pictures there, okay? Basically, we are going to do those kind of thing also, okay, for this week. But it's all about to develop your skill one step at a time there. Especially for those who have zero knowledge of understanding. When they say, I cannot draw, so I never draw anything in my life. I'm really bad at drawings, and I don't have any talent there, for example. I don't believe in talents, guys. Talents, if you don't practice, if you don't work hard, is a piece of SHIT, okay? Talents. A lot of people actually quite arrogant with their talents. I've seen a lot, I faced a lot from previous my friend, my colleagues there again. But if you don't actually work with your talents there in the right way, it's nothing there. All right? But you have to learn also with the talent that you have, develop and diversify your creativity based on that. So when you talk about multimedia design there, working with the computers there, everything about applications there, okay? If you will have this kind of assignments there, projects that needs you to develop your first ideas there. Even though you know using Photoshops, you know how to use image manipulations to come up with some of the solutions there, okay? But normally when you submit your ideas, people want to take at least two different kind of solutions. First of all, how actually you're going to sketch your ideas first in a very quick kind of way. All right. So if you just sketch your ideas there, all right. If right, if you are actually my clients, all right, you ask me to design a character. All right, if I actually design the characters, okay, or maybe we have two different kind of designers, right? Okay? One designers actually sketch like this left kind of way of styles of working that to visualize this idea for you is to get it like that, and the other person going to sketch like this. I want to ask you guys one question: who actually you trust to for you to give the job? You have two designers there. Two people actually are going to what we call that present their ideas with you. Okay, so from these two different kind of drawings, two different kind of persons, who actually you trust to give the job, right?
The left one.
The, the left one. Why?
Because the sketch is more detailed than the right one.
Can you specify what kind of details there?
The way he struck the line and he do the rough sketch first before he try to draw the character.
It shows what? It basically shows what?
He have more, how to say, skill to draw the drawing.
Yeah, the drawing skill is more professional.
Okay, how about this one? You saw a lot of people actually draw like this, right? Or maybe some of you guys so experienced this one, but don't be offended, right? Okay? Because this is how actually we're going to realize our weakness and mistakes, then we overcome them back. Okay, what's wrong with this kind of drawings?
More chin chai, chin chai.
This one also chinchai there, right?
But the
Huh.
one got the margins there.
Specifically, right? Specifically there, right? Why? Why basically you find it's not right?
The way he draw is like just go by line. He didn't do any sketch whatsoever.
What's wrong with it?
Um,
Because there is
the,
there must be some answer from there, right? Because if you saw some other professional artists, right, they also draw some doodle line by line without any sketches there, but it still look right. Okay, it still look right. But the problem is with this drawing is what we can see obviously that what is it? Can anyone give? It's okay if you want to give some sort of like pasa kind of words there, okay? Some very simple kind of words there, right? Okay. Maybe you don't like this. Maybe if you like the kind of drawing, you just tell me. Just tell everyone, okay, why is it? Okay?
Is more realistic.
This is not realistic drawing, girl. This is more like a cartoon. Realistic mean you draw the human figures kind of portrait. Those are realistic lah. This one more cartoon there, okay? It
One
doesn't
is
look
3D and one
realistic.
is 2D.
What is it? Sorry.
3D and 2D.
This one is 2D there, right? This is flat drawings there. But it show what? Dimensional there, right? Dimensional, right? 3D is something different. 3D basically is like a Upenipen. It's a 3D kind of design there. Upenipen, Bobo Boy, Pixar animation like Monster Inc. Right? Or Moana is 3D. We can call it 3D lah in a more specific kind of generalized kind of what we call that kind of styles there of drawing or illustration there. Okay? But this one, basically, what we work right now is actually two-dimensional, but they show dimension. Dimension is like 3D dimension, 2D dimension, right? Dimension that make you can see the curve, the what we call that, the depth of those designs look a little bit more natural there, okay? More natural, right? More what we call that proportionate, okay? The proportion is almost right there. Even though we're doing a very stylizations, simplified kind of design, and also a little bit more like super deformed that we call super deformed. Okay, those are some of the words, some of the what we call that name of the styles of the design itself there. Okay, you guys will learn about all this kind of thing. Don't worry there. All right, I just want to correct you guys there. Okay, what's wrong with these drawings there? Okay, my kind of explain that, right? Even though I don't want to actually design or draw this one there. Look like a kid's drawing, lah. Look like a children's drawing there, okay? Those kind of, a little bit kind of extreme kind of explanation there, okay? A little bit kind of what we call that straight to the point there, all right? Kind of explanation. Look like we ask 11 or 8-year-old kids draw our design there, right? Okay, right? Is it right? The one who actually know kind of what we call that knowledge or experience to draw something, to design something there. So you guys agree there, okay? Anyone from you from these groups, right? Want to hire this person there? Oh, sorry, oh, I didn't open yet. Anyone who actually like to hire this person? This one, the right one? Anyone?
No.
Sure. No, you don't want to give
Well,
this guy a
it's
chance.
like what we do lah. If we
Are
do
you sure?
like computer drawing, then maybe we'll
Huh?
hire after.
Are you sure you don't want to give this guy a chance? Because, okay, comparing the price, okay, I just want to share with you guys, comparing with the price. Okay, because when we're doing business, right, we want to hire someone actually have a very, maybe some of the lowest there, right, or cheapest kind of services for us to develop our design, okay? So, I just want to give you guys these three questions there. If this person actually will work for you, but the price, the quotations of the services are going to be around 100 for one characters, for example, all right? 100 for one characters there. But when I design my kind of price around 300 there, right? But they give you guys, okay, you actually write 100 for one characters, one pose, All right, one single post, additional kind of what we call that price or cost will be added around 30 to 50 ringgit for each poses there, okay? If the character have confirmed, okay? I want to teach you guys also about how actually you're going to compromise and work also with your kind of career path later on there. This guy, they give you half of the price. Half of the price, including also, maybe he also quite smart lah, okay? Half of the price, but each additional character going to be around 10 ringgit. Right, so you're going to spend at least maybe around 100 for the whole visual development process, but this one you're going to add at least around 200 extra. Which one basically you're going to hire? As a businessman lah, you're going to design your own product or your own brand. Your brand basically, when you plan your own brand, okay, it has to become with the strategies there. Your plan, you want to what we call it, market your brand not only on the East Malaysia, West Malaysia, and also around a few countries, the Asian country, for example, because you have that kind of particular budget with you there. Or if you have the tight budget, maybe around urban areas in KL only first. But the brand, when you plan to strategize your brand, they have to be very, very solid there, very strong there, because you want to use these characters not only for a few months, but you want to use these characters for examples for the entire business plan, okay, for maybe 5, 10 years, maybe more than 100 years there, okay. Just like when you saw Mickey Mouse there, okay, how many years there, right? Around 100 years there, right? Mickey Mouse there. But people still watch and they have a few kind of evolution based on the same characters there. Right. Before this very simple, now become very a little bit more sleek. There they use 3D characters, but these are the same characters. Huh? But the first idea when they choose Mickey Mouse, right, okay, they still maintain the features, the personalities of that characters there. Right? So they're around 100 years, they're right. Right, still going strong there, right? If people still buy and watch cartoons based on Mickey Mouse there, and they develop more kind of various type of what we call that brand, platforms, merchandise, all right, games based on the same characters there. So if you think about to design something or design for someone, you have to educate those people like that, right? That's what makes people who actually can become consultant or basically your kind of leaderships can show from that kind of particular kind of what we call that attitude and personalities when you design your work. Don't become a workers only, okay? Whatever that people do, just do it, okay? Because you actually been trained to become a leaders there. You guys, each one of you guys there, right? That's why we're here, all right? So let's decide that. You want to cut your budget. Normally, when people call you to design something, you must be able to have some initial budget there. In-house kind of initial budget there to work there. But don't become too cheap, right? Okay. Even though we have to cut the budget, but you must be able to have the allocation budget that you have. That want to spend for branding like this. Because why? Because you actually as a business, what we call the persons, even though you have the budget, you have to work around the budget, right? You must be able to responsibility also with your works. If your design do not actually have the level that can people accept it. If you not accepted those design, what about anyone else there? Public, your consumers, your customer also doesn't appreciate it. If you don't appreciate your design, no one also appreciate yours. Right? We have to appreciate first our responsibility there. So you have the budget with you, but you still want to make cheap that. Okay? Is it worth it or not? Okay. So I want to ask you guys the last question before we go to start that. Okay. Because this is how actually I'm going to to kickstart a bit your morning here, there, right? Okay? Because I'm recording the sessions here because I want you guys to learn also some soft skill about designing there, other than working with those tools there. So with the budget that you have, you know basically the business people, right? If you talk about budget, you don't talk about you only have 100 ringgit in your pocket, right? Especially in your company kind of account, right? If you have one ringgit in your company account, don't do business, okay? For example, like that, okay? Even though you don't have the right budget, but you know how to get some of the budgets later on, there, right? You loan to someone basically, okay? But you know basically your strategy is right. But you have to take some gamble, okay? Some what we call it, some risks to start the business. Even though our work, so there's a lot of risk there. So, do you really willing to hire a cheap kind of designers who actually design like this? But the person's not that expensive there, 100 ringgit for one particular designer. But you know why? Because you have to go through with him also the process of developing their ideas there. That's why this guy, right? This guy who actually designed these characters know basically the blood, sweat, and also the challenge when you want to come up with your original ideas there. All right, because you have to know your subject matter first, you have the storyline there first, the whole process of development, you have to understand that first. And if your client don't understand, you have to explain to them why. Give you guys a bit kind of tips over here. So, this guy doesn't tell you anything there. Normally, right, when I see a lot of people outside there, right, when they actually do the works, they don't explain to you, to the clients there. But they give actually a cheap price. All right, a very, very cheap price, okay? They actually drop the price, okay, for the clients there. So this guy, 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit. Which one do you want? Which one there, right? 150. Which one there, okay, you want to spend? This is not buying food, you know. This is all about your business there right now. Your bread and butters, right? Okay, your futures also depend on it, right? Okay? Your company futures will depend on what you spend. Okay? You willing to spend more, or you what is it there?
Buy 100 one.
Hmm?
More secure.
Which one? The right one.
The left one.
The left one. You still think you basically what we call that willing to take a risk and also try to spend a bit more to get very good designer, right?
Yeah.
So that means you and hopefully most of you guys have a very good taste in those design there. That's why we're here. That's why basically we're here. Because we need to have a very good taste. Everyone, right, in this room, right, should have a very good taste there. Of course, a good taste come with the price there, okay? But there is no wrong basically if you, for example, like people nowadays, okay, want a good taste, they do a lot of loan, they buy expensive car. But my kind of way of thinking, when you buy car, make sure you have amount of budget that you have. You cannot afford loan, you want to basically, right, you want to eat cut food, for example, right, you just eat a roti every day and buy an expensive car. This is not my time. This is not my way of thinking. Okay, make sure you also can eat good food and also can ride a very good car. But of course, good car doesn't really have to buy Ferrari lah or BMW, right? Beza is okay, but I'm not having Beza, right? But Beza is okay, right? Convenient, right? But if you can buy a more convenient like Honda, okay, good, right? Okay? Honda, maybe, I don't know, right? But for me, right, okay, you have to know your level of your kind of potential that you have. I'm talking about all this kind of thing with you guys this morning Because when it comes to design basically or develop our ideas, all right, our ideas here, they will go also the same kind of journey here. I'm talking to you guys also these things all the times. Okay, when I actually show you guys how actually I'm going to work, okay, with some particular kind of drawings here, okay, like draw some animals there, okay. We haven't drawn animal yet, all right. So one of the reason I want to show you guys is to give you guys some sort of challenge for this week to draw other than human, right? Because our previous exercise, we also need to draw a dog there, right? It's quite hard basically to draw that dog there, right? So what basically I want you guys to work for today, for this week basically, is how actually we can actually develop our understanding to develop those constructive kind of line that is. All right, constructive kind of line there. When you want to draw something, okay, last few weeks we have been experienced to draw from what we call that, from line drawings, okay, from line drawings. Okay, we draw on top of it. It's like we trace them, but we're not basically, all right. We actually try to develop basically our understanding to work with those kind of drawings here, okay. So what basically I want for you guys to develop those kind of understanding from now on is how actually you can actually solve the subject matters that you will draw without looking at all this kind of illusion kind of details there. Okay, we have to start with the basic structures there. To understand about basic structures, you have to go back into one particular kind of what we call that fundamental kind of process to get to know about the basic structures back again. All right, basic structures there, the shape itself. All right, I've actually saw basically I actually have saw some of your friends have done online demonstration for us, okay. When you actually start to draw using those tablets there, we have to cover two things here, all right. The first thing basically, how actually you're going to choose your brush, okay. I think who actually, okay, Weiqi, is it, okay? You the one who actually asked me, okay, if I'm not mistaken, when you draw a grass, right, they look a bit more like stiff, like the strokes quite thick there. Okay, when I actually use my brush there, right, even though I'm using hard brown brushes there, right, can you see how actually I draw basically the hairline? Okay, let me show you guys also the way I control my hands. See, even though you can't see clearly there, right, okay? You cannot see clearly basically on the pictures there. Those are one of the disadvantage when we work with those tablet lah, right? Okay? That's why, all right, when we actually want to learn to draw, right, traditionally, we cannot use photos there. This is not, I'm saying, only basically because my personal thought is not right. Basically, right, okay, normally, right, okay, not basically, normally, right, okay, when we actually practice our discipline to learn about illustrations or drawing there, okay, all professionals will say the same thing. You want to learn about drawing or illustrations, you have to draw from life. Why? Because we can see clearly the subject matters there. Right? We can see clearly all the object, the what we call that, the details there. Right? But right now, when we have the photos, okay, the limitations that we have here right now, even though the details there, right? The limitation that we have here right now is what? Is the photo that we choose sometimes is not that clear. It's hard to find very clear, okay? There is a few kind of site that, like Shutterstocks, there, okay, who actually can get a very kind of good pictures like. Right. What I actually show you guys right now, if you actually watch carefully there, right? When I actually draw in these Photoshops, did I actually maintain the aspect ratio of the sizes for my view, or I change? I change, right? From what we call the established kind of profile, what we call the profile view, and I will zoom in all the time there, right? Why I have to zoom in there? Why? You guys still here with me there, right? Are you fall asleep?
No.
All right. So why basically there, right? Why actually I zoom in there? And when I draw, right, the biggest mistake that people draw, they draw like this one there. That's the biggest mistake that I saw from a lot of students there or beginners there. But when I draw there, okay, can you see there, right? I really carefully construct my drawing strokes and line there, right? But we are not actually drawing realistic here. When someone actually explain to us, okay, realistic drawing there, right, from that from the sketches that I draw there, right? We are not focusing on realistic there. What I do right now, I just want to develop basically my kind of understanding by using the right kind of strokes with the right kind of brush. But right now I'm using a very standard kind of brush there to draw the subject matters there. But why actually I didn't draw from this side there, right? A lot of people, they actually, right, they actually really what we call that, make mistakes there. They simply love to draw like this. Control Z, right now, right? They draw the strokes, they develop the stroke, they flow the strokes, right, from this distance there. That's what makes mistakes one of the biggest mistakes because you want to draw the whole thing fast there, right? Like this one there, right? You don't actually take your times and think how actually you're going to move there, right? The strokes here. See, when I draw them, I try to control a little bit my hands, one step at a time there. Even though I'm zoomed in, I'm still using basically Control Z, all right, to control my hands, okay, to make sure that I can get the right kind of strokes there, because when we draw with this position, sometimes okay, normally right, because we try to get a very right kind of coordination with our hands there. Okay, okay, if you want to close this one, check back into this drawing. Okay. Look perfectly done, but not this one is here, okay? Right? Using hard, round brushes. The quality of line was there. The dimension that I show from the stroke also was there. All right. It shows basically the understanding when I try draw the horses. Okay, those one drawing there. Those are the things that you have to overcome or try to develop. Right? Okay. The first kind of understanding we have to work, okay, why actually I use red colors there. I'm not using black. I already explained basically, okay, for the yesterday, okay, for one of the groups there, okay. One of the reason I'm using black colors or more other than black colors there, okay, for my sketches, because they will look a little bit more varieties there, okay. They play with my moods there, okay, because traditionally, if you watch the videos there, okay, like, basically I explain a little bit details out yesterday. When I sketch my kind of drawing in my sketchbooks, right? Sketchbooks, I'm using not only pencils there to draw. I'm using color pencils, charcoal pencils to sketch my ideas there. Right? That's why I'm using different kind of colors there, just to give a bit more kind of, call that, a mood there, I think. That really gives a little bit more kind of rhythm and flows, okay, for my kind of development sketches there, okay. So what basically I've done right now, right? Talk about shapes, okay. We're talking about shapes there. We have drawn some of the shapes to develop a form, okay, for past 3 weeks there. But if you really want to study or improve your kind of understandings, when you want to draw something, this is the kind of drawing that you have to get used to it. All right. Okay. If you saw based on the basic structures I showed, right? Okay, all objects in this world, every objects in this world came from the shapes there. This is how basically artists or designers look at things. Everything came from the shapes there. Everything came from shapes there, right? From cylinders to a bit kind of short cylinder or triangles there, right? Okay, and then this ball joint, okay, based from circles. All right, I already explained basically from the videos, okay, from the previous videos, okay, based on the cylinders there. This areas basically from the ball joint there, okay, half of the cone for these areas there, right? The whole skull for this, what we call that, these horses, right, came from the this is the bone there, the bone structures there, okay, that I can imagine based on my understanding, okay, for the horses there, right? So the backbone, okay, the collarbone, okay, they're going to be a collarbone right here, one mistaken there. They're going to be a spine. They actually construct the bone, okay, for these horses there. The spine of the bone there, okay, they actually construct basically the posture for the horses there, right? Okay, we call it line of action. Every object that we draw have this line of action to construct the postures there. All right, the postures, right, the body postures, right? Okay? So if you take a look at these photos, right, or these subject matters that we call them, this is the postures for the horses there. The tail also have the postures there, right? Sometimes the tails look like this when they run there, right? Like the postures for the legs are going to be like this, right? Okay? The postures, the line structures there. So really, you have to understand the whole structures here before we are going to draw details. It will take time to get to understand about this new kind of routine there. A lot of people, when they want to learn draw, they thought that when they actually saw these pictures, they simply draw there, right? They simply draw, right? Like a pro. They thought they're a pro there, right? Just draw, simply draw. Yes, I already teach you guys that methods there, okay, for last 2 weeks. Draw using, okay, this kind of drawings that I actually show you guys there, right, previously. We call it continuous line drawing there, right. It's basically to give you guys one of the experience to develop understanding how to develop those analytical kind of understanding on the subject matter there. When actually you draw before this, right, you always start with this kind of drawings there. You don't actually look at things in details, right? So right now, this kind of like a contour map kind of drawings there, right? It's basically to teach us, right, as a practitioners, right, or candidate of students, kind of what we call that design students there, right, to give us a little bit kind of confidence when you move your hands, you don't have to erase your drawings there all the time, first of all. Second thing is, if you look closely to these drawings, to these subject matters while you draw, you can see all the curve that form basically these subjects there, okay, your horses is subject. What makes these uh, images or illusion of these images, when you draw back again, they become as what you want basically. And by the same times, you basically learn to develop your coordination between your hands when you draw with more confidence there. Even though some of the line drawing you're not actually really sure basically it's right or not, it's okay because it takes time there, okay? For those who really cannot draw well, who actually have a lot of problems to construct the line there, right? Okay? This is the best kind of exercise that will actually give you a big kind of process of learning back again how to look at things in the right way. Remember that, right? To look at things in the right way there, right? People always say it's hard to teach people to draw. Yes, I admit that, right? Because if you don't actually put yourself in the positions, okay, and actually watch carefully. Right now, you are experiencing it right now, right? Okay, you were about to experience it. How actually I use my hands to draw closely. And one of the best way for you to learn is to follow back what I do there, right? That's what we learn, right? The art of seeing, the art of learning is all about copying what other people do. Normally, when you look at YouTube there, okay, there's a lot of time lapse on a video there, right? I'm not using time lapse right now, right? What I did actually right now, I draw, what is this? Great balls of fire, there, right? I'm actually draw basically, right, from the live sessions here. I'm showing basically how actually I move my hand, even though the random kind of lines basically, this is torpedo there, right? Yes, right. It jokes a bit there, right? So if you take a look at how actually I move my hands there, okay, I really use a free kind of forms of line drawings to develop basically, right, the methods of controlling my hands when I draw there. So for those who actually write the shadows line, okay, construct the line like a drawing a map, a contour map, right? This is, all right, don't overestimate these drawings here, please. A lot of people overestimate this drawing, especially the zero knowledge kind of persons. They will end up to draw like that right person kind of drawings there for the entire of their life. Right, if you take a look closely there, right, the contour line drawing that we actually produce from this exercise, it will show basically your kind of earlier understanding how to control the line there. Okay, to control the line. From these moments, I want to what we call that warn basically you guys gentle reminders to you guys, okay? If I saw, right, because later on, okay, when it comes to our first assignments there, okay, first project assignments there, okay, I think around week 6 or 7 there, I think, when we start to draw our own characters there, right? I will ask you guys to present all the work that you have done from the first beginning until week 6 there, okay, in video presentations there, and upload them back in Google Classroom there, okay? Google Classrooms around, okay, one person should present at least around 5 to 10 minutes there, okay? 5 to 10 minutes there. So everyone going to present, okay? Submit your presentations using videos there and show the works there, okay? When you present, show the works there. So if I saw someone when they draw there, right? You still are going to draw like where is it? Start from week 4, okay? So let me check it. If I saw that someone still actually cannot develop their understanding by controlling the structures, yes, I really admit it takes really time there. You will find a lot of challenge there. I'm not saying they're going to be easy there, right? But it's not fine for me, like for this one, it's not fine there. Who actually go 4? Look fine, but not too right, but still have the very right. Okay, not joining the strokes there, so that means this person group 4, all right, but still okay. But what I think, right, okay, what I actually have in mind, okay, when this person draw there, okay, they basically draw, they are not actually look at things in the right way. They still draw like this one there. See there, right? Huh? You see the line strokes there. Because they're not actually entirely zoom, right? Or move closer to the subjects when they actually want to draw. That's the biggest mistake there, right? If I saw this kind of drawings again, all right, for this week, I'm going to ask you guys to draw back again. Because they obviously, when I see this kind of drawings, obviously I know that the person actually draw. Right. Some of drawings look okay lah, but we have to zoom in a little bit more details, right? We construct all the lines, right? But it's not that bad, not that bad. But have to redraw back again, right? Later on for this week exercise, this week exercise week 4, okay? Because we are going to draw the construct line there, constructive kind of line. This one is in young. Right, this one there, right? You can see, okay, maybe this is the beginning there, okay, the first drawing there. The beginning, ding, 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 the right drawing there, right? This one using what? Zengyan, Chao Zengyan there, okay? Photos there. Traditional drawings there, right? Using sketchbooks. Look a little bit off on the structures, postures there, right? So it's not that right kind of drawings there. Even though, right, Zheng Yan there, okay? Zheng Yan basically, I think he doesn't get those tablets yet there, okay? So the perspective, the whole thing is wrong already there. I'm not saying that this guy cannot draw, right? But the way that he draw is wrong. Okay? This is maybe his way of drawing, okay? Manually drawing, okay? So we have to change. So you see Zheng Yan there, right? Is he in his class? Chao Zheng Yan?
Yes.
You are? Okay, right. Yeah, Yana.
Ah.
All right. Okay. So Jayan, you haven't get those tablets yet, right?
Already get.
Yeah. Sorry,
Uh,
you haven't get those tablets yet.
have, but I don't know how to use.
Use what? Tablet.
Ah,
Have you installed them? Install the driver?
already,
Huh?
already installed.
So right now, for this week, you can use those tablet lah.
Ah,
Okay, good, good. All right. So you saw basically how actually I draw the subject matters from using those traditional kind of drawing there, right? Before.
ah,
Hmm. So maybe for this week, follow exactly what I did, using those tablets there. Okay, Jayan?
yes,
Do you have your tablet with you right now?
have.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I want you to show basically share with us how actually you're going to work with those Photoshop drawings. Can you share your screen with us? You work with your computer there, right?
Mm, mm.
Okay. Can you actually share with us? I want you to share with us how actually you're going to construct your line according to what I've showed before there, okay? And basically just now using those Photoshop there. So I can actually correct you back later on. Okay? And the rest of you guys who actually still haven't sure, this is the best moment that we can actually sort it, okay? How some of the person who actually have a lack of understanding to work with it there. Alright? Okay, Jayan, when you're ready, right, okay, just share your screen, okay? Share your screen there, right? So, all right, guys. So if you take a look back again, right, okay, with our drawings here, to develop those construction line. Okay, anyone have any questions about this construction line there? How to get it, those construction line there? Okay, first of all, if you take a look at all living objects, right, okay, all living objects came from this kind of shapes there. Right? If you want to understand about how to develop your kind of understanding and design worlds there, okay, came from all these construction shapes there. All living objects there. Human, aliens, anyone, okay, these rectangles, square, circles, cone, triangles there, right? Okay, it came from hexagon there maybe, or half of the hexagon there. I don't know the names there, okay, the terms there, right? All came from this kind of subjects there, basic shapes. How to define them? Okay, this is how designers, artists see things. That's what we call fundamentals there. If I want to draw the horses, right, okay, so the shape this. Okay, the shapes here are going to be look like this one. Right? The shapes there. Okay, this side of shapes of horses are going to be look like this, right? Basic shapes. Triangle there, right? So if you can actually define this kind of shapes when you, okay, this one look a little bit more like the front part there, okay, they have a circle there, okay, muscle over here, there, right? Then draw the shapes of the muscles over there. Because if you take a look at some people actually conduct these constructions line, right? Sometimes look a bit more, there's a different kind of also interpretation based on the studies on the structures there. We are not actually doing anatomies, kind of what we call that studies as detailed as the fine artists or doctors there, okay? But it's more than enough. You can actually develop your kind of individual understanding there when you want to draw or you want to study the shapes of the structures there. There. Same goes to this area. Right? So this came from cylinders, right? Combined with another cylinders there. This one look like another shapes there, right? Okay. This is the basic shapes of the houses there that you need to define. So when we want to draw for this week. All right. But one of the most important things when you construct the structures is the way that actually you construct the line. See the line, not the level, the line that we draw, the quality of line there. Look messy, but looks very fine for the sketch line there. But if you take a look closely, okay, if you use effects there, okay, like threshold, for example, see the shapes. The shapes of these houses. You see the shapes there, right? Right, the shapes of these horses there. If you can see there, right? Probably. Okay. Supposed to stronger. Okay, maybe because of that. But if you can see the shape itself, okay, this is the shapes of the horses there, okay, that define obviously the negative and positive shapes there. Positive shapes, right? In shapes or space, all right, we have these two different kind of areas there. Positive and negative space. You need to understand and learn to define and to understand about these kind of elements there. Principle of design, okay? Space, right? About negative and positive space. Positive space, okay. This one also a part of the negative. How big is the negative space there when people ask you, okay? This is negative space there, right? These are negative space there. If you can define this is not a negative space okay, because I can't actually manage to paint each areas there. If I want to paint it on back, right? This one, yeah. Is to show a bit more kind of understanding there, right? About the shapes itself. And we want to study the shapes, this is one of it. Okay? Understand the whole shape first. See things as a designer think there, okay? Then we can construct the shapes better. This is how people train designers there to think, right? Same goes to these areas there. This particular kind of person, okay? Draw the shape there, okay? Understand the whole shape there first, okay? If I want to capture the shapes right here, before I'm going to draw them back, understand the curve, connection line that define the whole pictures there. Even though this picture doesn't have the whole body there, right? Okay, cut half of it. I'm okay with it, okay? The shape itself. See how actually we can define the shapes before we are going to draw the constructive line based on this. Ladies. I'm using women or ladies because women kind of basic structures, right, is very, very, what we call that, soft there, right, okay, in terms of line there, right, okay. So if you take a look basically, right, the basic structures here, right, the alignment there, right, okay. For these ladies, the alignments for the eyes, eyebrows is more closer to the ears. The eyes, middle of the ears, eyes there, okay, are going to become over here. But this is not a standard of constructive line, okay. The ears are going to be right here. Okay? So if you can see this alignment there, right? Right. Even though the nose of this is not purely what we call that balance, okay? But it's a good kind of way of working with the understanding that the lip itself, between the lips, the combination of line that combine with the distance or the alignment of the eyes, okay, right here. This is the measurement there. Between the lips and also upper lips and so the nose, right? This is the alignment there, right? The jaw and the mouth there, right? Basically, this side, right? This is basically the alignments, the basic structures, right? That people, you have to understand when you draw the right. You have to see all this kind of alignment there, right? To measure, right, your subject matters. We call subject matters lah. We don't call human face there. We don't call the woman face there. We call subject matters. Just like a scientist there, I think, when we draw those. Even though when we draw the nose, the shapes of it, okay, we start to study the obvious part of the human nose, or human kind of what we call that body part of face there, okay. Shape of the nose came from this basic structures there, triangle. Okay, the shapes of it. Lips came from two triangles. The shape right here, they come like this. The shape for the eyes, this is the basic shapes of the eyes there. It's a triangle, but it's diagonal a bit there, okay? Diagonal a bit there. The shape here, right? It's not that purely like this one. Okay, some people draw eyes like this, wrong. Okay, I saw a lot of people make mistake. Or you draw like this for left eyes, wrong. Okay. Some people try to be smart. They draw characters with this kind of eyes there. I really hate it. Because when you draw characters using these eyes, they define the personalities for your characters, even though you don't actually define them. It will show by you, that kind of visual language will say the characters have the different kind of personalities there. Like gloomy, right, kind of personalities there, right? Shapes of their eyebrows there. Define them first. Even though you're not actually going to do it in the right way at the moment there. But this is the thing that I want you guys to work first. Okay, draw the ears, the right shapes of the ears there. Try to define as detailed as you can. The shapes of the ears there, see? Then you will find a bit kind of understanding when you want to draw them. Okay, the shape of the hair. Even though this is not the right way to draw the hair, right? But we want to construct the basic structures there first. All right. So even though you cannot see from here, okay, you have to define a bit lah. But if you don't have those knowledge, of course you won't be able to define the shape there. Don't draw halfway of the face or head without complete them. Because we are designers, we basically want to define them. Right? The shape of the jaw, what we call that, the face, we're going to be look like this, a diagonal line at this diagonal line there. This one a bit more like curved line like this, right? Some people who make mistake, they will draw like this one. a bit more like there's a dimple or swollen kind of what we call the neck there. Okay? It's not simply like that, but we're based on this structure there, basically. All right. Please watch also my previous videos. Okay, when you draw the eyes, you see the eyes is not actually purely like this. Half of it there. Quarter or half of it there. Eyes there. The shapes of that. They're going to, the whole kind of pupil are going to be inside the socket there. Right? Same goes to this one there. Right? Take a look there. Right? Not basically the whole thing are going to be outside there. Obviously, our eyeball, how big the eyeball size there? Maybe like this one there. This is how actually people see things, right? Designers see through those subjects there, right? That's how actually we saw the subject matters there. Before you're going to talk about portrait, detail, manga, whatever things that you want to draw it about. All right. So when you have done this kind of studies there, right, okay, alignment to the eye, right, then, all right, what you can do? You start to draw back again, right? Draw back again. Oops, sorry. I'm going to use different colors now. Draw the shapes. Draw the eyes, their shapes there, right? Control the line well there, please. Okay, this is one of the sketch line that you can produce. Rendering, see the way of my hands there. Remember guys, it's not important yet to draw realistics if your line is sucks. Right? Eyebrow for the continuous line. You can also try to draw like this one there, right? See the way I move my hands. Using this kind of strokes there. I really encourage you guys. If you only want to show your understanding, try to construct your line like this. One of the drawings there. Please. See, I'm using my hand slowly to draw the pupil. Don't be hesitate. Don't be too much overdue with the eyelash, right? Not that right. Okay, hairline. See, draw the hairline there, strokes. Follow the stroke and line there. Construct everything based on the strokes and line there. Because in defining the element of design, right, construct the line, because all the living object or design there, okay, that you saw outside there came from this constructed kind of line there, control line drawings there. They define the element of design there. Remember that, okay, we are not actually doing, right, I'm controlling basically the line structures there as well. Some of the line for the nose areas, right, a nose kind of structures there, we don't have to draw the whole thing, otherwise they look a bit more weird, right? When you look at these drawings, right, it doesn't look too weird there, right, to draw. So I'm using a shadow shapes to define the combination of those lines there. Okay? And I'm also using, right, a thickness of line to show the depths for this. When I draw those leaves there, right? Okay? Zoom in, move with the with your space bar there, right? Okay? To draw different structures there. Let it flow there, okay? Let it flow there. Okay? Learn to have the best or the right kind of coordinations with your hands. Okay, with your hands. Then you can complete those drawings there. Even though I can't see basically those neck, the back of the what we call that bottom of those images, right? But I still draw them back. Okay? Two different kind of drawings there. Right. This one is based from sketch line drawings there, right? This one a little bit more like a contour line drawing there. See, both drawings is really important for you guys to develop the skills there. All right. So when you use those tablets, you have those advantages to apply this kind of methods. All right, Zhen Huang there, right? Zhen Yan, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, share. Wait, is that right? Okay, I want to see how it works. Can you share with us? Last one more beautiful, right? More. Who's called my name? Call, yes, call me. Zhen, can you share?
I don't know how to share.
I think there is a buttons over here, okay? You are presenting, this one I'm presenting, there, right? I'm stop presenting. Can you present now?
Presenting.
Yeah, present entire screen. Yeah, present entire screen there, right? Open up Photoshop. Try to choose some of the brushes there. Can you hear can you guys hear the song that I listen right now? No. I try to connect it also with my audio, but I can't do it. I don't know why. Anyone know, right? Okay, Jinyan, how is it? Can you share that, right? Your entire screen there, right? Is here. The right side bottom there.
And share.
Then you click to the screen there, right? All right,
You
good.
can see.
Yes, yes, you can see that. Okay, take it one of the pictures there. Try to take one of the pictures. One of the reference that you have. Okay, okay, reduce the opacity there first.
Opacity.
Add the layers there, layers. Right side. Not that one there, okay. Those one that one is for brushes there, right? Okay. Put the opacity to 100% back again. Alright? Okay, adjust to 100%. If you saw the right side of your screen, there's a layers there, right? Okay, reduce the opacity. They call opacity right here. Alright, okay, reduce them first. Okay. Add new layers. Okay, at the bottom, so you can add new layers there, or you can right click also there, right? Yes, okay, good. Okay, now, what brushes that you use right now, Daddy? Can you actually share with us? Not that one. Not that one, not that one, right? The right one there, okay, the right one, okay, the right one there, okay.
Right.
Okay, no name there, okay. Click to the right side of the button there. Right side of the button there, right? Okay, click back again here lah. This one, okay, to the brush. Okay. Click to this setting, to the setting here. All right, put it into large list there, right? Okay. Okay, if you say that you have installed the drivers there, right, okay, try to find some of the brushes that you can use, okay. Browse for us here. Not soft round, hard round. Okay, click to the hard round there. And then zoom in to the pictures. Okay, then start to draw. Why don't have those? Why basically doesn't have the pressures? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, click to those buttons there. That button is now there. Right? Okay, try to draw back again. Okay, no pressure there, right? Can you use different brushes? Choose different brushes there. Try to browse different brushes. Not that one there, right? Right. Okay, browse a little bit more. Down there, right? Okay, scroll down there, right? More, right? Okay, scroll more. More there, right? Okay, scroll down more. Another right? Okay, scroll more there, right? Okay, I want to see your brushes, your selection brushes there. Scroll a bit more there, right? I think you have one of the brushes that I used there. What version of Photoshop do you use here? Which version? Photoshop CC.
Photoshop
CS.
CS.
Okay. So that means I think you have the brushes that I use actually are all media wet flow brush. So check back again your brushes. Scroll down a bit more. Scroll down a bit more. More, okay, right, okay. Just scroll down, right, slowly. Right, most of the brushes basically is quite similar. If you use, okay, if some of you guys use the same version as Zenyan there, okay, I think you have the standard brushes that I use, right? Because normally in CC 2019-18, they have this Cal Ultimate Pencil, but this version doesn't have that. Scroll down more. Again, okay, scroll down a bit more there, okay? Until the end there, okay? Until the end of the scrolling there, okay? Until this, what we call the brushes there. I want to see there, okay? Again, right? Okay, more. Scrolling more there, right? Okay, more there, okay? A bit. Okay, stop there, okay? You can see all media wet flow just now, okay? Number 32. Click to the brushes. All right, this is the brushes that you have to try there, okay? For those who have these brushes, try to use these brushes there. Try to change into the size around 10 point there, okay? Okay, now try to draw them 10 point of pixels there, okay? Try to draw back again. Okay, what basically you have problem right here there, okay, Zenyan. You don't have the pressure strokes.
Oh.
Did you install the drivers there?
Don't know.
Huh?
Don't know.
Don't have?
Okay.
Okay, what version of your tablet model is there, right? The version of your tablet models there. If you know the version of your tablet models like mine there, right? Okay, they have the models right here. Okay, mine is PTH451 there. Okay, so if you have that kind of models, okay, for your tablets, right? What you can do, all right, wait up, you guys can see my screen. My screen is not here. Okay, I will share my screen there. So I know basically your problems here. Your problems here right now, you don't have the right kind of pressure strokes there. All right. So after you install the driver, there's a yan, then you try to redraw back again because I see a lot of lagging on your stroke on your what you call that navigations here, there, right? Okay. So what you need to do, install the driver based on your tablet there first. All right, you can off the screen first, Zanyan. I'm going to share my screen here first.
Okay.
So for anyone who have this kind of problem, I know that the problem here. Try draw lighter, cannot lah, right? Okay, Meiji, cannot that, right? Okay, because right now he has a problem with the pressure strokes. So what you can do, what are the best thing that I can find the solution, because this is a standard solution there. Because for me, I don't have that kind of problems when I use those tablets, especially when I want to install in my laptop lah, right? The only problem that I have when I use Surface. So if you know the model of your tablets, right? Right? What model did you use there? Zanyan, when you buy those tablets there, right? It has to be a driver that built in, all right? Or you have to install online there, right? What model did you use? Which type of brand? Can you show us that, right? Okay, you have the webcam there, right?
Yes.
Which model do you have there?
This,
That one is where do you get that?
PLC rectify.
Huh? I can't understand that. Can you show back again those tablets? This one is a Genius. Okay,
Yes.
okay, Genius there, right? All right, Genius there, right? Okay. Okay, you have the models right here, there, right? Do you have the installer, the driver?
Driver.
The driver. Yes. All right, if you still don't have, it's okay, Ganyan. What you can do, right? Genius there, right? Genius tablet driver. You find your own models lah, right? Okay. Model for your Genius tablet there, okay, and download them. If you use this mouse pen i56, right? Okay, you can install, you can download this driver first for your window there, right? Okay, for your window. I think you use this one there, right? This one. Is it right? So make sure you install first the drivers there, okay? Because it will came with the drivers there normally. But that one basically quite old there, right? My kind of advice, I actually doesn't recommend people actually buy tablet from Genius. But if you have that kind of budget to works, make sure you install the driver first for your window. Right? If you can install the right drivers for your window, then you have to restart and try to redraw back again. because this type of process is really important there. Why? Because if you don't get the right kind of drivers there to work with your tablets, our main objective of the whole activities that we want to do for our lessons are not going to be right, okay? Basically, you fail with the objective here. Why? Because when we work with those, when you draw with your hands, they're right. If I draw with my hands, even though you're using pen, okay, see the way that I draw with pen, right? Right, even though I'm using pen, if I want to draw, right, a characters there, right, based on the basic structures here, the same character that I draw, all right, previously, right, basic structures here, we can actually develop basically the whole structures in the right way. All right, okay, and we can control the pressures well here. I can actually show you guys, okay, using drawing pen, using basically pencils, charcoals, or any kind of mediums there, right, in the right way, using those traditional methods there, right. But the problem that we have, okay, when you using those tablets, we want to achieve the same kind of methods of drawings like this, all right? Even though you want to draw, for example, a robot there, right, okay? You start with the basic structures here like this. Okay, basic structures there. The main objective of our exercise here is we want to develop basically our understanding here. To draw them. Okay? Even though I want to draw robots, they're right. We want to achieve this kind of line there. This is what basically we actually try to achieve this way. All right? To draw the very constructive line to understand the whole structures, even though you draw basically using those imaginations there, okay? Whatever shape that you imagine in your head, you can actually transfer that back again into those constructive kind of line there. Even though I want to draw, for example, horses, they're right. Okay, horses here. I'm going to use this constructive line there to work there. To work. Okay. So this is basically the main objective of using those tablets there. Okay, when we want to work with our exercise. So if you cannot achieve this kind of drawings, the whole objective of those exercise are failed. All right? Understand what I mean there? So that means there's no point there, right? It works. Whatever that we have go through for the past few weeks, our main objective is each one of you guys can draw in the right way. Whatever that you guys have done right now, right? Especially right, some of you guys already that have a lot of difficulties to work with your coordination with your hands directly. This is basically our 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 level of par kind of standards that we want to develop. I didn't ask you guys to draw like some of the artists that you love to see as inspirations at the moment there. What I want you guys to achieve a very simple kind of task there. Controlling the right kind of pressures and strokes, draw in the right way, try to coordinate your strokes, your line, your flows, your pressure point to develop your exercise. Each drawing for this week are going to be two pictures, two different kind of drawings. One pictures with two different kind of drawings there. Constructive line and control line drawings there, or sketch line of drawings there. So that means each photos that I give you guys 8. I'm going to update you guys also another 3 or 4 the right day, maybe. But using this constructive kind of line and tablet there. For Zanyan or the rest of you guys who actually haven't get the tablet or maybe still learn to operate their right day, try to get the right kind of pressure. Otherwise, not only you, okay, I told you guys before, if my tablet doesn't work right, I'm going to have the same issues that problem. How actually I try hard enough to draw, I'm still not going to get the right kind of strokes there. I will also draw like lousy there. The drawing also looks lousy there, okay? If I don't have those pressure point there, okay? So